let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude.
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Welcome to the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. If you are finding us for the first time today because you saw a Super Bowl commercial, the very last commercial of the broadcast on Fox last night in the Central Iowa Des Moines market, good to have you along on what we labeled the fastest growing show in Iowa. You can subscribe to our YouTube page. You can follow us on X at Rush Mornings. And, of course, you can like our wonderful Facebook page. I'm Travis Justice. He is Mr. Ross Peterson. What's going on, sir?
If you tuned into the Super Bowl to watch the floor, you saw the Rush commercial.
We were texting each other. It was supposed to run at like 9:15, right? And we get this text about, hey, Fox local commercials are running about 5 minutes ahead. It's going to go on earlier. Get a text at halftime. Hey, we think it's going to run in game. And then I'm watching and I keep watching and we go to the post game.
Trav, were you able to actually watch the Fox 17?
No, so being in Omaha, I have the Fox 42 feed.
Yeah.
But what I'm able to do, though, is monitor the local breaks. So I was looking for 10-second breaks, right? So we were sitting here in bed, and Angela goes, "Are you coming on?" I said, "Well, we're not going to see it." But I go, "There's a 10-second break. We might have just aired." So I text you. I'm like, were we on? You're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh." Then another 10-second break. I'm like, "Were we on there?" "No." And then finally, I get a, "Here it is. Here it is. We made the Super Bowl." It was the very last ad in the post-game show.
Hey, we got an ad in the Super Bowl, dude.
Yeah, that's all that really matters, right?
Super duper, super cool. And we've had a lot of people reach out like, "Hey, how'd you two idiots afford that?"
We didn't.
Pretty easy.
Yeah,
pretty easy to afford when you don't have to pay the bill.
Yeah, when you don't have to pay the bill, it's pretty easy to get it on there. But we're lucky we work with some really cool people at Choice Creative. They have some incredible connections. And I think what happened was, Ross, I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. But look where the placement was. It was like the last ad in the post game. They were like, "We need to sell this last 10-second ad." And they'd make a phone call. They're like, "Hey, we're going to give it to you dirt cheap, man. We're going to give it to you dirt cheap."
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Yes.
So, yeah, really cool. I mean, super, super cool to be able to see that, man. That was awesome.
But again, if you are finding us for the very first time, good to have you along. If you wondered where we disappeared, you're watching the Super Bowl. That's where those two bozos went? Yes, that's where we're here. But it's great to have you. You can always call into the show at 515-517-2303. If you're watching on YouTube, you can use the comments section. What we've seen is, and getting a lot of feedback on, we selectively read some of the comments, but also viewers and listeners start having conversations with one another. And it's kind of fun just to watch people have conversations with each other. And you can also do that on X as well. So you can follow us at Rush Mornings. I put a poll up yesterday and accidentally, for some reason, hit it twice, Ross. So it went up there twice. But I got a question for you. This is the last poll I put up. I put up several during the Super Bowl. Worst Super Bowl ever watched?
Oh. Man, I'd have to go back. I don't think so. That's a tough one, Travis, because I was glued in because I knew I was going to have a commercial on.
That's true. No, it's the best Super Bowl because we were on it.
Boy, that's tough, dude. That's a good question. that game did feel like it was over early on. I mean, when it got to halftime, I was still of the mindset of like, I saw the Patriots do this against the Falcons. They can get down a little bit. I'm still going to buy in that Patrick Mahomes has some magic sauce and something's going to happen here. They're going to make this a game. And then I don't remember what it was in the third quarter, if it was an interception when Philly scored one time. I don't remember. So at some point you went, Philly's winning this game. They not only the better team, the much better team. Dude, they dominated on the defensive side of the ball. That was really impressive game for Philly.
It really was. And to give you some of the results that came up, because I actually only put the poll up there twice. So the first time it went up, it got 447 votes. 52.8% said no, it wasn't the worst they've ever watched. And then the other one that actually only got up there, 265 votes. So you're looking at about, I don't know, close to 800 votes total for both polls. 55% said no. So,
yeah,
I mean, almost no. At 50-50.
Yeah, Trevor wrote in and said Seahawks Broncos. Man, and I feel like when we were kids, that the 49ers had that one. Didn't they just destroy the Bengals or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's been a couple of them that were just lopsided blowouts.
What I was surprised at is that I put another poll up during the game, and it hit the fourth quarter. Where it was over when it went to the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
So I put fourth quarter and the Super Bowl and a Super Bowl blowout. Are you still watching? 65, almost 66% said they were still watching.
Yeah. Dude, it's not, if it's a Tuesday night and you're watching a Hawkeye basketball game and there's 5 minutes left and it's a 20-point game or whatever, you go, okay, what else is on? You've made plans. Sunday, your day was the Super Bowl. There's nothing else for you to turn to. So there's just not a lot of other options to drive you away from the Super Bowl to watch something else.
No, and it's the Super Bowl. I actually enjoyed all the pregame festivities. Usually I'm not a pregame guy, right? I don't like the pomp and circumstance, the 10 hours worth of pregame. It's like, how much can you... But I guess because my daughter lives in New Orleans, and I've been to New Orleans so much... The culture around it was just so well done.
Yeah,
it's like the 11th Super Bowl in New Orleans. 11th. Think about that. I don't know if there's a better city for the Super Bowl.
Trav, I would say this: I don't know that they've done a better job of making it a New Orleans Super Bowl as they did last night.
Good point.
John Baptiste doing the national anthem. That sounded like a New Orleans national anthem. That was a Creole national anthem.
America the Beautiful.
Same thing. Yeah. That with, it was the Christian singer, Laura Dangle.
And Trombone Shorty was part of that too.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I liked that part of it. I am finding myself to be less and less surprised every year that the halftime show is like... There are few more polarizing things in the world that we see than a halftime show at the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter who it is. You're going to get a segment of the population that loves it, and a segment of the population that hates it, and a segment of the population that just can't figure it out and doesn't have an opinion.
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's a generation thing with me, right? I'm an old dude. I am 54 years old. I don't listen to Kendrick Lamar. Mm-hmm. I was intrigued by Kendrick Lamar because my daughter Mary opened the door for him at a PR agency when she was interning. She's like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Lamar, come on in." It's just
I didn't know he was that short. He came out.
Either did I.
Like, oh, he's about 5'6".
Yeah, so I think your polarization of the halftime show comes down to generations or just your style of music. Yeah. Whether a lot of people don't understand rap, get rap. I'm probably one of those guys because I'm a middle-aged white dude, right, and did not grow up with it. So my kids love it. So I'm not. I didn't think it was a bad production. I actually liked how they all got out of the car.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Serena Cripp, when she popped up, my first thought was, that lady looks like Serena Williams.
I've always been in love with Serena Williams. I have been. I
took it over the top, didn't it?
That took because she looks so good.
She looks really good.
I mean, this is creepy dude going, Serena looked really good last night.
Is it creepy to say that? Is it creepy to say, man, Serena Williams looked great last night?
Yeah, but I'm saying she looked good. The way,
dude,
the way you said it, not creepy. The way I say it, creepy. And look at me, I've got my Cosby sweater on, and I look like a grandpa here. But yeah, I mean, she looked good.
She did look
really
good. Like, no doubt about it.
Of course, the highlight for most people in Iowa came pretty early on in the game when this happened.
3rd and 16. Mahomes roll out. Looking, firing, intercepted. Picked up by Cooper DeJean. Gets a block. DeJean is in. Touchdown.
Ross, everything that kid does just
so
turns
cool.
to gold.
That was so cool. That was absolutely the highlight of the night. Yeah, and I mean, again, not a Chiefs fan, so I would hate to say, like, even if you're a Chiefs fan, man, how can you not root for a small-town Iowa kid getting a pick six in the Super Bowl in his rookie year?
On his birthday.
Dude, so cool. Did you see he walked into the stadium wearing his Letterman's jacket from OABCIG?
No, I didn't see that.
Yes. Yeah, he walked into the stadium wearing his purple Letterman's jacket from high school.
That's pretty darn cool.
And then ends up with that. That was when he even had his 712 area code. I just saw that this morning. My buddy Adam Bent sent that to me. He had the 712 area code on his shoes.
Hey, I grew up in the 712.
Yes, you did.
I grew up in the 712.
You're a 712 boy.
I am. Yeah. Yeah, but I just thought he had 3 tackles, he had a pass breakup plus the pick six, and I'm just thinking, what a rookie year, what an amazing athlete, and just good things happen to this kid all the time, and it's not luck. He's just that good of an athlete.
Yeah.
Just that good of an athlete. After the game, he was a little subdued. He was on, and this is courtesy of Scott Van Pelt and ESPN, but this is Cooper DeJean. And maybe it's the enormity of it, but very professional-like on his birthday in his interview with Scott Van Pelt.
Being able to play in the Super Bowl, first of all, my rookie season in the NFL, and
Right.
being able to score a touchdown is even crazier. I'm just so happy to be a part of this team and this organization. I mean, it's just us working together as a whole defense and preparing, throughout the whole week, like we've done all year. We stuck to what we've been doing all year, playing our defense, playing the way we play, flying to the ball. I'm just happy to be a part of this group and be coached by Coach Fangio and everybody else on the staff. It's amazing.
Just very, very businesslike, right? He should have been like. I saw Saquon Barkley. Did you see him shotgunning a bear?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you got to look for this on Twitter. It's incredible. I don't think I've seen anybody shotgun a beer as fast as Saquon Barkley did. I mean, it was like a 1.2 second shotgun. It was like, dude, that was fast.
Imagine those few hours for Cooper DeJean, man. 22 years old, your 22nd birthday, Trav. You walk into the Super Bowl and walk out a champion with a pick six. I mean, if Jalen Hurts hadn't had the game he had, you could have made the case that he could have been the MVP.
100%. But just, and you wonder. I know he's going to appreciate it, and I don't want it to sound like he won't, but it's like it happens so fast. You're 22 years old.
Like that. I mean, Travis, I think that's a fair thing to can you appreciate what this moment means? I think so. I mean, we've seen this now in Iowa with Caitlin Clark. I think Cooper DeJean, obviously not quite as meteoric, but man, huge stardom factor for this kid. And they've handled it really well. So, yeah, I mean, what an awesome experience. What an awesome experience, man. He has just come onto the scene in such an awesome way here in this season. I mean, obviously, being a white cornerback is something that set him apart.
Yes.
And that got him some love and some publicity just for the fact that he was a white kid playing corner. And then he plays at that level. Man, it's so good. So cool to see.
And this just adds to his Hawkeye lore, right? I mean, it just adds so much for what he was able to do from a return guy, from a cornerback at Iowa. You go your rookie season, you get that pick six, just adds to his mystique of being a Hawkeye. Well, there's a lot of favorite Hawkeyes, right? I mean, growing up, mine was Chuck Long, Larry Station, Andre Tippett. I don't know which ones yours are, but there's going to be a generation where Cooper DeJean is your favorite Hawkeye.
Absolutely. And Trav, honestly, there's kind of a little bit of a gap there football-wise. Because for me, it went from Chuck Long to Tim Dwight. Those were kind of like my two football guys that I fell in love with and that I was able to follow. You know what I mean? I think that's a big part of it. Can you actually follow them at the next level? And for a lot of us, Tim Dwight was kind of that first guy. You weren't going to follow Ronnie Harmon. You weren't allowed to.
For those of you on YouTube, I know people are wondering about the audio. There's two separate audios here. One goes to the stream, and YouTube's a little bit different. I hate to clarify this on the air, but I need to let you know that YouTube's a little bit different and I can't manage both, so the stream is kind of where it's tailored to, but don't worry about it. As long as you can hear him, that's good. Speaking of Tim Dwight, he came up in a conversation the other day. I went to a pizza place last night, or on Saturday, Ross, and the guy who runs the Johnny the Jet Rogers Foundation is there. Johnny Rogers, former Nebraska Heisman Trophy winner. Caden Weegan is this year's Johnny the Jet winner. So Kirk Ferentz, Caden Weegan, they're all going to be in Omaha for this, and Tim Dwight's coming over to do the introduction and the talk about Caden Weegan. So it's weird that you
do it.
Yeah, no kidding. It'd just be interesting in Huskerland to have all the Hawkeyes just invade Omaha, and it's like sold out already. They're like they couldn't believe how many people have come over, which is really, really cool. 515-517-2303. That is the number of the call. If you didn't see, I'm going to be a little self-serving here. Why? Because, we can be. If you did not blink last night, if you were not up at like 7 or 9:31 to see the very last commercial of the Super Bowl postgame, this is what you missed. Thanks for making The Rush the fastest-growing show in Iowa.
And thanks to our great partners. We couldn't do it without you.
We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. at therushradio.com. That's it. That was it.
10 seconds.
That was it. Everybody's probably thinking, well, are you going to be like all creative and stuff like that? I'm like, you have 10 seconds. It's the message. We did get one message, though, Ross, that because you're drinking a Coke and you had the Fong's shirt and the Fong's pizza box, that you were Wayne in Wayne's World when he was doing all the sponsors.
That's what we were going for. That's honestly, we were trying to cover every inch of sponsors. We had the Willis logo on.
Yes.
We had it all. That we thought the best use of our 10 seconds was that. We really did. And again, we should probably clarify some things because we had about 40 seconds of creative time. meaning they told us, you guys have a Super Bowl ad. We need it in a minute. Record it and get it to us now.
Get it to us now. What do you want us to say? Join us tomorrow. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, yeah. But that's a first for me, by the way. First time I've ever been on a Super Bowl commercial. Same with you, Ross?
Yes,
it's a first?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And first time doing product placement ads.
It would have been great if you just would have gave that Wayne look.
Yeah, showed the Coke right to it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Nothing refreshes me at 6 in the morning like a Coca-Cola.
True story. We go, hey, we want a Coke for this. And Ross goes, well, you go grab one. I go, I don't have any pop in my house. Ross goes, I don't have any pop in my house. And we're like,
neither one of us drink pop, so I had to go buy a 20-ounce Coke for the commercial.
Yeah. And keep in mind, we had a minute to get – Ross literally ran to the gas station, came back. He had to wipe the sweat off his brow, and he was able to compose himself so we could get our commercial cut. So, 515.
Fun, man.
Very,
Lucky,
very
awesome
fun.
And blessed and all those other words. It was really cool.
515-517-2303. That is the number to call. You can interact with us on Twitter at Rush Mornings, at Rush Mornings. It's good to have you along on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hi, I'm Sean McFarland, Service Manager at Mini of Des Moines. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and if you're looking for the perfect gift for your Mini, give us a call and get your vehicle in for its scheduled maintenance or any repairs that you've put off until now. There's no better way to make your Mini feel the love that you have for it. Please give us a call or visit us online at miniofdesmoines.com.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the champagne of bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Just click that Listen Live link, and you can pick the show up. Just loops 24/7. If you want to start from the very beginning, of course, subscribe to the podcast, replay, wherever you listen to your podcast. You know, we just heard from Bats and Bugs and the Home and Garden Show going on this weekend. Go see our good buddy Corey at the Home and Garden Show. And we just got this, Ross, that they're for Rush listeners only. So if you're listening to this right now, a 10% discount on your first service to Rush listeners. Make sure to tell them you heard about them on the Rush and get a 10% discount on your very first service. That's pretty cool.
I tried chatting with Corey that day I met him. I learned a lot about the bat situation. I had a neighbor a few years ago that had bats and had to get them removed from the house. And when I was telling Corey about this, he's like, oh, that might mean, they've got to go somewhere. Well, luckily, nobody in the neighborhood has them right now. But if somebody in your neighborhood has had them, they might have migrated to your house. So worth a call to Corey. And that's nice that he's offering that 10% discount for people, because you have to do eco-friendly solutions. You can't do stuff to kill them. You don't want to do stuff to kill them. So anyway.
I do have a programming note. The show's going to go to 7:30 today. I got to be somewhere early this morning, so we're going to bolt out of here at 7:30. Apologies. We'll be back to normal tomorrow from 6 to 8, just 6 to 7:30 today, just to let everybody know. So don't be alarmed at 7:30 when we say goodbye. But it's not forever. It's just 24 hours. So Jalen Hurts, your Super Bowl MVP, and he earned every little bit of it, Ross. He was, and you think about the story of Jalen Hurts from Alabama to getting benched in a national championship game to transferring to Oklahoma to winning the Heisman Trophy to being a first-round draft pick. I think a lot of people had questions about whether or not he was going to be a franchise-type quarterback. Took the Eagles to the Super Bowl, lost, and then this year he was 17 of 22, and I thought where he really made the big difference. Everybody talked about that Kansas City blitz. He read those blitzes so well. And he was able to. I think he picked up 76 yards rushing yesterday, 72 or 76 yards rushing. The Eagles defense and Jalen Hurts, the reason the Eagles won that Super Bowl yesterday.
And Travis, one of the knocks on Jalen Hurts going into that game was, hey, this guy can't step up in the big moment. This guy folds under pressure. He's not. He doesn't have that Patrick Mahomes do it in the big spotlight type of thing. And unless he can manage this game and not make the mistakes, because he can't win the game. And I think Kansas City kind of went in with that attitude of like, we are going to make sure that Saquon Barkley doesn't beat us on the ground. We're going to make Jalen Hurts beat us. And he did. He threw dime after dime after dime down that sideline, man. They ran that same play 3 or 4 times attacking that right side on just that little lob pass. That's a timing play over the top. They knew what they were doing. They came in with a great game plan, and yeah, he absolutely was deserving of that MVP because he played at such a high level the entire game. And to not only outplay Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, they dominated that. They dominated the game. Both sides of the ball, you're absolutely right. He did a wonderful job of staying in there. When he had to get loose, he got loose. When he had to dump off, he dumped off. But for the most part, man, they stuck to that game plan, and it was killer.
Yeah, it was amazing. And did the MVP still run off the field and say, "Hey, I'm going to Disney World"?
Do
they still do that?
I don't think so. Because they used to air the commercial right away. Remember?
Yes. And it was like
Eagles fans.
Go to Disney World.
The other one was, as soon as the game ended, you could buy the leather embossed Sports Illustrated.
Oh, yeah.
The Eagles fans, commemorate your big win by giving us $95, and we'll send you a magazine with fake leather on the outside.
Do they even print Sports Illustrated anymore?
They have to for the swimsuit edition, right?
Yeah, you're right. Because everybody needs sticky pages.
Do they print Sports Illustrated? Oh, yeah. Girlfriend's mom got mad at me for talking about sticky pages the other day, so I shouldn't mention that anymore.
That's just a fact of life. You can't let those outside influences play editorial content.
2 boys. She knows.
What is this?
Yes, Sports Illustrated is still printed. In March 2024, the magazine reached a deal with Minute Media to continue publishing the print edition.
You learn something new every day.
So don't worry, teenagers. Sports Illustrated is still in print form. Jason says he got the Dallas Cowboys leather embossed Sports Illustrated from 1993. I've got the 1996 Yankees one here somewhere.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can probably grab it.
Baseball fans,
I got my bookcase
football fans.
Exactly. Hockey fans.
Commemorate your Super Bowl.
Your LA Kings have just won the Stanley Cup.
You know, the Eagles said they were motivated by the Chiefs' three-peat talk. And was it the Chiefs or was it everybody else talking about the three-peat? Or does it all kind of roll into one?
I think it all rolls into one. You don't know who's talking about it. You just hear that Pat Riley is willing to give the Chiefs and that's enough to fire you up.
And it becomes a story because they have to take those actions and those steps to be able to use the word three-peat. Now, you don't have to worry about it anymore, but, I mean, there are steps you have to take. You just can't throw it out there and say, hey, three-peat, because there's somebody digging up going, hey, Pat Riley owns three-peat, so can you use it?
I mean,
and they're like,
you can say it, you just can't sell it.
And print it on shirts.
Yeah, you're right.
Stuff
Right.
like that.
You can't sell it. You can't put it on something and then make money off it. But you can say it.
Because if your kid does a service trip to Uganda in the next year or two, they're going to be wearing Kansas City Chiefs three-piece shirts. You know I'm
remember,
right.
Pat Riley got a $0.25 on each one of them.
At what point do they start shipping those overseas? Is it like the third quarter? You know, they just go, we better put these boxes on the next FedEx plane to Uganda.
Trav, I swear, one time I went to Omaha for the College World Series, and one of the T-shirt shops in Omaha had, and they couldn't sell them, obviously, but they had like all of the loser T-shirts on display. I swear that was a case one time, because I remember one of my buddies like, hey, USC didn't win it last year, and the guy's like, yeah, those are the shirts we can't sell. They're the losers.
They got to be printed somewhere, and they're like, hey, let's keep one for. We'll ship the 100,000 to Uganda, but we're keeping one for ourselves. So yeah, you watched intently last night, as you know the game was essentially over at halftime. But you know, if you listen to Tom Brady, he kept saying even in the fourth quarter, well, it's not over yet. Oh, it's over, Tom. It's over.
I did have that feeling, Trav. I did. I kept thinking like, and even I'd have to go back and look at what the actual when there was a touchdown that Kansas City scored, and I had a moment again of like, well, maybe if they. It was in the third quarter because the announcers came out and said, hey, by the way, remember they can't do an onside kick yet.
Yes.
They can't. It's still the third quarter. They can't do an onside kick, and I think that was when I was like, "Oh yeah, that was kind of part of my." That was part.
Do you like that rule? Do you like that rule? Either do I. Do you like the now that the season is over? Did you like the new NFL kickoff rule?
It didn't bother me a bit. It did not one. I mean, I think like most people, the first couple of times I saw it, there was that moment of like, "What are we doing? Why isn't anybody moving? Why are they lined up like that?" And then about the third time you see it, it just seemed normal. Did it change the game that much? I didn't think it did at all. There were still a couple of kickoff returns that were exciting and fun. It didn't seem like there was an abundance of kickoff returns or an abundance of touchbacks as opposed to what the game used to have. So I don't know. I feel like that was one of those things that was kind of much ado about nothing. We made a mountain out of a molehill type of deal. Like, oh, my God, they're changing the game. And then we get to the end of the year, and you're like, wasn't that bad.
I actually think it made kickoff returns maybe a little bit more exciting. I do wish they would change the onside kick rule, where you can onside kick anytime you want. Because you have to – because when you do that, you're telling everybody you have to make the announcement, hey, we're going to do an onside.
Too, yeah,
you got to declare it. So I wish like any time in the second half – or really any time in the first half. If you, it's your prerogative to do an onside kick. If you
start the game with an onside kick, you should be allowed to do that.
Yes. That's the only adjustment I would make. Of course, a lot of people were thinking the Chiefs would be beneficiaries of great officiating calls. I think the Eagles had one more penalty than the Chiefs last night. There were two calls, I think, early in the game that were questionable. One by the Chiefs, that first pass interference on fourth down. And there was another one by the Eagles. You went, but otherwise, I thought it was a pretty decently officiated game. Nothing.
The first penalty of the game, I think, was that offensive pass interference called on the Eagles, where it was hands to he kind of got his hand on the face mask.
Yep.
But man, they threw the flag. People at the Super Bowl party I was at right away were like, oh, kind of jokingly, here we go. Chiefs are going to get the calls. And then they showed that replay, and everybody at the party went, ooh. That's a bad call. Even Tom Brady's like, I don't know about that one.
But you're going to get it, and I don't think it didn't affect the game.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And again, look at it in its totality. There's no way you can look at that game and go, man, the officials were doing everything they could to help the Chiefs. No, they weren't.
The Super Bowl is known for its commercials. Besides the Rush commercial that aired the very last spot of the postgame show. Any commercial that stood out to you?
Man, there were, but Trav, I'm so right now I'm going to draw a blank trying to think of what they were.
I wrote down my favorite ones.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you, because maybe you'll spur some memories here.
The Shane Gillis Bud Light cul-de-sac commercial.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
It was so Shane Gillis was having a cul-de-sac party. So he invited himself and everybody else in the cul-de-sac, and they kind of made fun of the cul-de-sac, which was entertaining. Did you see the liquid death everybody drinks on the job?
Maybe I didn't watch the commercials.
and maybe I'm a little more connected to that because I know the marketing director for Liquid Death, and it was like showing cops drinking on the job, showing everybody, school teachers drinking on the job. Because if you see Liquid Death water, it looks like a beer can. It looks they've purposely made it look like a beer can, so you're like, oh, when you go to a bar and you're the designated driver, give yourself a Liquid Death, makes it look like you're drinking something that's alcohol. But they had the song produced, everybody drinks on the job. Did you see the Stella Artois commercial with David Beckham and Matt Damon?
I saw the Dunkin' Donuts one where they mentioned Matt Damon.
Okay,
but so I did not, dude, I feel now you're saying these, and I'm like, what? I didn't see this one either.
Stella might have been the favorite one because David Beckham's sitting with his folks, and they're like, "We hate to break it to you, you have a twin brother." He goes, "I've got a twin brother. What's his name? Other David. Other David. Well, where's he at? Well, we left him in the United States. So David Beckham goes to the United States, knocks on the door. It's Matt Damon. Hey, I'm David Beckham, and so it's Matt Damon, and he's like, "Come on in," blah blah blah, and he goes, "So you're a famous soccer player?" He goes, "Like how famous?" He's like, he goes, "Are you Matt Damon famous?" He goes, "More like Ben Affleck famous." He goes, "Oh, that's a shame." Does that bit ever get old? The Matt Damon, Ben Affleck
No,
thing?
it doesn't, because they did the same thing in the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. The Dunkin' Donuts ad where they kind of take some shots at Starbucks, and at one point Casey Affleck says, "I knew we should have sprung for Ben," or "I knew we should have paid for Matt."
So that was, I mean, for $8 million a spot, you're like, yeah. And I did like the William Dafoe Mick Ultra pickleball commercial.
Well, it seemed like Martha Stewart was in quite a few. I remember Martha was doing that one where she was doing the funky walk thing.
Oh, yeah, for Skechers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Martha was going for the Skechers. But, commercials are released so early now that you're just like, okay. But the Stella Artois, you have to search that one today and take a look at it. Harrison Ford had a Jeep commercial, and he was talking about his Jeep, and he goes, this Jeep makes me happy, even though my last name is Ford. And so they took a little dig at Ford. So yeah, there were some good ones out there. Some really good ones. So football's over. At least the football we love. The USFL will start up in March.
They had a USFL commercial during the Super Bowl. Come on.
I'm with you. I love football. I love college football. I'm not a huge NFL fan, but the USFL doesn't
do it for me. And it does feel like it's oversaturation. Like, man, how much football can we consume? And I know there's guys out there that are like 365, 52 weeks a year. I want football. That's not me, man. And I like the commercial aired last night, and it's like, is this a movie? What logo is that? This must be a movie. This is a preview for like the new Jamie Foxx movie. And they're like USFL football.
Is the National Football League supporting the USFL? Because the entire operating budget of the USFL was spent on a commercial last night.
Good point.
Like y'all bought a Super Bowl commercial? How about pay us?
That was weirder than us having a Super Bowl commercial.
I forgot. Fox equals USFL. So Fox
good
must
job,
be
Tyler. Yeah, good job, Tyler. Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that. I did, Trav. I assumed the same thing you did. When you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, the NFL must be subsidizing it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given him the time there. Fox. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, right when the Super Bowl is over, the new odds come out for next season. And Kansas City and Baltimore, both your odds-on favorite, tied at plus 650, I believe it is. And then you have Detroit, Buffalo, and Philadelphia at plus 700. The way Philadelphia played last night, I'm surprised the Eagles are not the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl.
Me too. What am I missing there, Travis? Is there something? Maybe somebody that's listening can put it in the chat. Was Saquon on a 1-year deal?
No,
Is Jalen done?
No.
Did they lose half the defense?
No.
What the hell? That team should be they dominated that game.
100% dominated that game. And there was no – you watched that game last night, and the reason I wasn't surprised is just by the way the Chiefs played all year. I mean, they lived on the edge all year long, having to come from behind so many times just to get very, very close wins. I forget how many 3-point wins they had during the year. It was a lot.
Trav, if I remember right, you go back to like week 6, week 7, they'd lost a couple of games. It really seemed like they were going to have a tough time figuring it out this year. They made it to the Super Bowl.
But they weren't the best team. Not even close yesterday. I mean, you watched that game and you went, oh, there's a different level with these Eagles.
Yeah.
Just a completely different level. Right in the starting lineups, or when they came out on the field, John Hamm introduced the Kansas City Chiefs, which was odd. And this came down, and it's odd because hear me out. The biggest Chiefs fan I know, who's a superstar, would be Rob Riggle, right? Rob Riggle absolutely is a huge Chiefs fan.
Okay, not like him.
But I think it was, well, we could get Rob Riggle, but does anybody know who Rob Riggle is?
That's it. John Hamm is a level above.
And he's a huge St. Louis Rams fan. Now, he's from Missouri, but he's a Rams fan.
I didn't know that.
But maybe because the Rams are now in Los Angeles, he's like, well, I'm going to be a Chiefs fan. Now, Bradley Cooper did the Eagles, and that made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Bradley Cooper was in New Orleans all week long, Ross, with his food truck, and he was working out of his food truck serving Philly steak and cheese sandwiches to people.
Like him.
Did they show Taylor Swift at all last night?
See that when you just said the most famous St. Louis or the most famous Kansas City Chiefs fan in the world, I almost said Taylor Swift. But she's also an Eagles fan. She's an Eagles fan. She's dating a Chief. I didn't know the thing about John Hamm being a Rams fan. Now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, I think that was somewhere in my brain. Do you know? Can we verge here for a minute?
Absolutely.
Right. Do you know how John Hamm got his start in Hollywood?
No,
it's amazing.
It wasn't Mad Men.
Well, that was his first big break, but that wasn't what kept him in Hollywood.
What? Because he was like a bartender or a waiter at some restaurant, I believe.
Yep, and then got a job teaching drama at his high school in the high school he graduated from in Kansas. So he was going to leave Hollywood and go be a drama teacher at a high school in Kansas. And his roommate says, hey, man, I've got this gig in the business that I don't want to do anymore. Do you just want to show up tomorrow and do my job? Because I don't want to do this anymore. And John Hamm's like, yeah, I'll do anything to get my foot in the door. Because he'd been doing auditions, but people kept telling him, you're really good, but you look like you're from the 50s.
Yeah, he looks like Cary Grant.
Yeah, we can't put you in this movie because it's not a period piece. Well, then all of a sudden Mad Men popped up and he got that big break. But that wasn't what kept him in Hollywood, Trav. His roommate's job that he decided to take one day and it got him in the door, he helped set up sets for porn.
So he was on Boogie. He was William Seymour Hoffman in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, he was like a continuity director for porn. Is how John Hamm and people were like, "Oh, you're fun to work with. You should keep doing this thing." And then he got Mad Men. These are the things you learn from Mike Rowe and The Way I Heard It.
That's an incredible story. Because when you say that, all I think is William Seymour Hoffman in Boogie Nights. That's all I can think of.
That's what his job, allegedly. That's what his job was.
You know,
Ross
Ross.
had a good one. Yeah, that's a good one, Ross. Caitlin Clark is a big Kansas City fan. She would have moved the needle, wouldn't it?
And by the way, you had the tweet of the night with Caitlin Clark.
Oh,
there was this video going around of Caitlin Clark doing like a skills exercise and throwing the football and hitting like every target as Caitlin Clark would do because she's just that naturally gifted. And Ross tweeted out, "Who knew all along that Caitlin Clark was the best quarterback in Iowa City?"
Whole time she was there. She's blindfolded. She's throwing a better ball than Deacon Hill. Blindfolded. She threw a better football than a guy that... Anyway, that was...
Oh, it was good. It was
my
good
friend
stuff.
Alan, my buddy Alan, actually, he put something out. He put that Dave Portnoy tweet out and was like, damn. My tweet was inspired by my buddy Alan.
It's good to see that you're still inspired. Good to see you're still inspired. But, you know, I was thinking, and maybe even though it was a blowout, that was probably the first Super Bowl I watched from kickoff to end. I mean, I didn't leave. I watched the whole damn thing. And postgame. That's pretty rare for me. Did you went all the way through?
Dude, I
too?
was there all the way through. I mean, again, our commercial was the last thing to air before they went to Rob Lowe and the floor. So I was there when the floor came on.
What? Okay, did you watch the floor? Because they promoted the hell out of that thing.
Oh, we've watched the floor for a couple seasons here in the Peterson house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the premise of the floor?
So it's a one-on-one competition. There's 100 people out on this floor, and they each have their own little square, and then they each have their own area of expertise. Okay, so it might be geography or sports trophies or something like that, or whatever. 100 different categories. Well, then you get to challenge somebody in their category. So then what they do, Travis, is the two people get up there and they stand kind of like Family Feud style, where they stand facing each other, and then pictures pop up on the screen, and you have to identify the picture as quickly as possible. And then it goes back and forth, and kind of like chess, each person has a timer ticking down. And the person whose time runs out first loses. Winner gets to then take their space on the floor, and then at the end of the game, there's one person left for the entire 100 spots.
515-517-2303. Let's go to the phones. That's where Derek in New Sharon is. Derek, welcome to the Rush. What's going on, Derek?
Good morning, fellas. What a hell of a weekend. Where do you want me to start, Saturday or Sunday?
Let's start with Sunday. It was the closest.
All right. That was the greatest Super Bowl I ever seen. The real GOAT was up in the booth going, "I got your GOAT right here, little Patty. You suck." Best thing about that Super Bowl, my boy Donald J was there. I do got to compliment a Hawkeye. Way to get your first pick in the NFL, Cooper.
Makes Iowa look good.
Very cool, Derek, to have a small town Iowa kid do something like that. I'm glad to hear you say that. That's the type of stuff we should put those Hawkeye Cyclone differences aside and go, way to go, kid. That's really cool. I thought the other thing that you would have loved, Derek, I thought the other thing that you would love a lot, not only that Trump was there, but when they showed Taylor Swift, she got booed. She got booed so bad that they caught her on camera saying, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah, well, the dictator-in-chief was present. He's in charge, not Taylor. Anyway, now let's go to Saturday. Talking about putting those Hawkeye Cyclone differences aside. My gosh, I got a 30-point doing the juicy wiggle in the living room. Welcome back, Milan. Then I got to turn over there and watch Iowa piss it right down their leg. Then I got to see my women stay in the tournament with a big win. Wow. Then little Price Sanford. dropping the F-bomb in the postgame. Whatever. Hey, bud, if you don't like Iowa State's always looking for some practice players. I don't know what NIL for practice player is, probably a free car wash voucher once a month. But come on over, young man. You're a Missouri Valley player. How we doing, boys? Woo!
Derek had a weekend, folks.
Derek had a weekend. How many Blue Yummies did you drink this weekend?
140.
Oh, enough to float a small canoe. Woo.
All right, Derek. Thanks,
Hey.
buddy.
All right, see you guys later.
He never disappoints. A lot of people going, no, yes, he does. But from our standpoint,
Listen, if you're a Hawkeye fan, I get it. We are both Hawkeye fans, and Derek can rub you wrong. I get it.
515-517-2303. That's the number to call. You can also interact with us on Twitter at Rush Mornings, and subscribe to our YouTube page and like our Facebook page. It is The Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Oh, boy.
That's right, Brian. It's tailgate season, and Central City's got everything a good tailgate needs.
We have all the beer,
All the good party drinks.
And don't forget the White Claw.
hot dogs, brats, and chips.
Kegs and eggs.
And if you fill up your cooler with beer from Central City, we'll throw in the ice for free. By the way, what team is this supposed to represent?
All the teams, Brian. All the teams. I don't discriminate. Tailgate time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
There's more Iowa in the Iowa Tap Room than you may realize. Housed in a building nearly as old as Iowa itself, the Iowa Tap Room greets you with a harvest of 120 Iowa craft beers on tap from all corners of the state. And the food doesn't get much more Iowa than this. The Iowa Tap Room, all Iowa beer, one amazing place.
Hi, I'm Steve Ollinger, Service Director at Willis Nissan. February is here. Love is in the air. Valentine's Day is around the corner. Flowers, chocolates, brakes, oil changes, batteries. Get your car checked today. Go online to willisnissan.com to make your appointment. Happy Valentine's Day.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Rush Mornings. And, of course, like our Facebook page. Absolute Garage and Closets. Man, I walked out of my garage yesterday thinking I could use some Absolute Garage and Closets. It's a mess.
You, that is one of those things you have to see to believe. So you go into houses. I see a lot of houses, obviously, being a realtor. You know when you go into a place and it's got an Absolute closet system or even some of the products from Absolute Garage, so many different things for you to do. If you're a biker and you've got a bike taking up space in your garage, you need to get to Absolute Garage. They have about 15 different ways for you to get that bike off the ground, up against the wall, hanging from the ceiling. They have motorized stuff, giant. So basically, Travis, like storage shelves that you can lower down, load up, and then raise back up towards the ceiling. Screen doors for your garage. So like you have a 2-car garage that you spend time in. You can get a screen door that fits underneath your garage. So you don't have to change your garage door. Your garage door comes up and down the same. There's a screen door that you can grab and pull down, and it rolls right down. They have so much cool stuff.
Man. Now you're making me jealous.
So a few other things. Complimentary design consultation at your home. They can discuss the client's wants and needs in your space. Fully priced design renderings, each step of the design process. Turnkey solutions. That's the thing. Like, this is white glove service, too. It is really, really fancy stuff and well done. So anyway, go see our friends at Absolute Garage.
And Tyler says the garage screens are legit. So I'll take it Tyler has a screen. So it's basically a screen you put down, not to let the bugs in. You can have like a party out in your garage.
Yes, exactly.
Or whatever.
Right.
Oh, that's super cool. That is really, really cool. Ross, we're failing. You and I are failing. Because it's becoming apparent that we need a merch store. Over the weekend, we sent Casey Waters Brooks and her husband to the Iowa State TCU game.
Yes.
And
they took their little baby
Charlie.
He's 6 months old.
Yeah. And he is either a bib or a shirt that said The Rush on it.
It was a bib. It had our logo on it. It was. I don't even know how are people getting this stuff produced, Trav? It's so cool.
Mick went to Nashville and had his own long sleeve like Rush shirt. And I'm like, we're missing an opportunity here maybe to market ourselves.
We don't have that stuff.
Yes.
How did you get it?
The best we have is that sticker that you see on Ross's microphone if you're watching on YouTube. That's the most stuff we have.
And we've had those stickers for a week. I just figured out how to peel it. True story.
Once you figured it out, was it easy? Like, oh, why didn't I figure this out?
No,
or was it still?
What you got to kind of do, Trav, you have to almost kind of like try to tear it.
Oh.
And then once you tear it, it kind of stretches the sticker part, and then you can.
Okay. Yeah.
Came up with that at the Barrel Aged Brunch this weekend.
Oh, how was the Barrel Aged Brunch?
So much fun.
Because were you there with Bruno and Jeff Klein? Is that who you were there with?
Yep. Sat down. So I didn't realize we actually were at a table with our buddy Jeff Klein, but he and his buddies were at one end, and I was at the other end with my buddy Frank and Christian, and Mandy and Sarah, and then Courtney was with me. So 6 of us were kind of at one end. Klein and his buddies and Bruno were at the other end, but we had wonderful time, dude. Terrific beer, and the food's fantastic. And got to sit and chat with buddies, and then went and saw Tammy P on Saturday night. She was amazing. Amazing.
I'm disappointed you didn't say hi to Tammy, because I think she would have liked that.
I'm sure she would have, Trav. We were out of there pretty quick. You know,
as you usually are. When I go someplace with you, I just want everybody to know, Ross and I have done a million things together. He's never stayed for the entire event with me. I'll turn around like, where'd Ross go? I'll call him, where'd you go? Oh, man, I had to bug out. I'm like, you left? Last time we did something, we golfed. We get to the 18th hole. Hey, guys, I got to go. Gotta go. We got family stuff. So when you said you bugged out of there early, I'm like, I bet he left before the show was even over.
No, we stayed for the whole show. But at the end, when we went out there, the only person that was out front was the feature.
Okay.
So Tammy wasn't even quite out of the door yet. And really, we got in the car. I was headed home, and I'm like, I probably should have stuck around and said hi to Tammy.
Did anybody try to heckle her? Because she said she's a verbal assassin.
Dude. Yeah, there was this one couple that, man, sometimes you go to a comedy show and there's just that one couple that wants to be a part of the show. You know what I mean? Whatever reason, they've too much to drink, probably, and they just decide that they're going to be a part of the show, and they start to interact with the comedian. And this one couple had done it 2 or 3 times, and finally Tammy was like, all right, turn the lights on. She's like, all right, we're going to do this. And she kind of bantered back and forth with the guy. Wasn't getting much out of him, so she went back to her act. And then the lady kind of chimed in a few times, and Tammy did the same thing. She's like, didn't you see how this went last time? But it wasn't a distraction by any stretch. The folks were not like, they weren't super drunk and obnoxious or annoying. They just were being a little bit louder than Tammy would have wanted, and she brought him into the show a couple times. So that was it.
No, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. She is really, really good. She'll be back in Des Moines. She usually comes once a year, so check her out at the Des Moines Funny Bone. Lots of good comics coming in. Hopefully we'll have more comics on.
They have an amazing lineup coming through town here in the next couple of weeks. There are a bunch of people from Kill Tony. When they were rolling through the acts, I'm like, man, I want to see that guy and that guy and that guy. There were a lot of them coming to the Funny Bone. She's got a good lineup coming.
We mentioned Casey taking baby Charlie to the Iowa State game, and I think she'd reached out to you to say, hey, we want to take our 6-month-old. So they put the headphones on and let Charlie listen to the replay of the rush on the wireless headphones as Iowa State was kicking the crap out of TCU.
Jeez.
But things are back to normal. Milan is back. Curtis Jones comes off the bench, scores 24. It's like they're back in sync, and that's exactly what they needed.
Get right game, right? You needed a game to wash those losses out of your head. Again, like this does feel like a broken record with these 3 losses, where lots of reasons that you can pile up there. Call them excuses, call them explanations, whatever they are. On the road, playing in tough places, you get hung up with a couple of losses. And it does start to feel like, oh, shit, things are not the way they were supposed to be. We were a top 5 team in the country, and now we look like a top 25 team in the country. You needed that game. And I said this on Friday, right? This was one of those must-win for other reasons. It's not a must-win for a conference seeding. It's not a must-win for the NCAA tournament. It's a must-win for your fan base. It's a must-win for your locker room. It's a must-win for your coaching staff to go, okay, we got it right. We're moving in the right direction. We just hit a couple road bumps there, and we happened to hit 3 of them in a row, and it screwed us up for a minute. We're a good basketball team. We can beat Division I teams by 30. We can roll guys out of the gym, man. That's who we are. Way to go.
And you want to send a statement like that, right? You're like, okay, you got Milan back, everything's back. Go out there, send a statement. Did you watch much of the College Game Day? Because I'm going to be honest with you. No. Thank you. I felt kind of guilty, but it was one of those things where during the college football season, Game Day is kind of like this. That's appointment television, and it becomes like that kicks it off. I still can't get used to a College Game Day basketball edition.
Me neither, Travis. I don't wake up on Saturday mornings in the winter thinking about basketball. I won't wake up here in the spring until we get into March Madness. And really, that first weekend of the NCAA tournament that Thursday is the first time I wake up and go, all right, basketball. Hawks play at 11 or Hawks have an early tip-off. You have that thing of like, all right, let's get going. I've never been one that was glued into the basketball game day thing. I knew it was coming to Ames. It's not on my radar.
They got a good crowd there. I mean, the students are going to get into it, and it was really cool. But I don't think it has the jolt of, I'm not going to say energy. Energy is the wrong word, but maybe the public relations benefit that college football game day has around it. It's just, oh, you're doing a pregame show. That's cool. But when Kirk Herbstreit and Nick Saban and Lee Corso roll into town, then that's a little bigger bump, because College Game Day Football Edition has been around a lot longer than the basketball edition. So I didn't pay much attention to it either. Iowa did not fare as well as Iowa State over the weekend. Iowa's home against Wisconsin. It was not a good turnout for the Hawkeyes as they got beat by the Badgers. They were up by 2 at halftime, Ross. It was tied, I believe, at 59 with about 7.5 minutes to go. They only scored 2 more field goals in that final 7 minutes. They just went like ice cold, couldn't hit a bucket, and Wisconsin pulled away, dropping Iowa to 13-10 overall, 4-8 in the Big Ten, and now you wonder, does Iowa even make the Big Ten tournament? The NCAA tournament is, barring them winning the Big Ten tournament, if they get in, is the only way they're going to make the tournament. But now, do they make the Big Ten tournament?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Travis. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, they're not fun to watch. It's not without Freeman, there's just not a lot of there. They played a lot better without him than I feared they would, right? I thought that Wisconsin was going to come in and blow out the Hawks, and they did play well. And especially in that first maybe 30 minutes of basketball, like you said. I mean, hell, it was tied with 7:10 to play.
Yeah, 59-59.
You had to watch that game and be a little bit proud of how they were playing. Like, hey, they're actually playing with a top 25 team. And then it falls apart. And then the thing happens where they've lost, is it 6 of 7 and 7 of 10?
Yeah. And over the weekend, we saw where Mike Woodson from Indiana announced that he will step down at the end of the season. We have not heard any indication of what would happen with Fran McCaffrey. We talked about this a lot last week, but Indiana now knows it's going to be looking for a new basketball coach. It's going to be going in a different direction. And they're letting Woodson finish out the season at Indiana, but he's done. And I'm sure it was one of those, you might want to resign or be fired, because the pressure was starting to mount. If Fran McCaffrey were to step down, would you rather have it happen now, say, hey, this is my last season, or do you want it to happen at the end of the year when it's all over?
When do I want to know about it? I don't care. I want Beth Getz to know about it right away. I want Beth Getz to be able to start making her, start building her roads into some other avenues here and start reaching out to say, we are going to have an opening, because I've learned this, Travis, you don't want to be the last job opening. You don't want to be the last one to show up and go, oh, yeah, by the way, we need a coach too. Who's available? And you grab a guy and you bring him in. That'll be a disaster. So if Indiana's doing this, you need to do this. Then you need to be out there in the public and saying, hey, by the way, we're available also. Now, right now, where is Iowa's job? I've tried to say this to Hawkeye fans before. Step outside of our Iowa bubble. How good of a job is coaching basketball at the University of Iowa? Men's basketball. How good of a job is that? Where's it rank? It's not a top 20 job in the country. Are they a top 50 program in the country?
Yes.
Are they?
Well, right now, if you're asking me what the job is,
right now, if you are a candidate to take a great job, if you're a candidate to be a Big Ten coach, you going to Indiana or Iowa?
Oh, I'm going to Indiana.
No doubt about it.
Yes.
No doubt about it. All right. So now where does that put you? Because Indiana's not a top 15 job. Indiana's not a top 20 job in the country right now. And Iowa's well below that. I'm just saying I'm not saying you can't get a great coach, and what you're going to have to hope for is that you actually get the coach out. You buy that penny stock. You're going to have to hope that you get the guy that can actually do the job at a great level and raise this team from where it is. Because I'm telling you, and I've been trying to tell Hawkeye fans for a long time, we are Northwestern. We are Northwestern. We are not Michigan State. We are not Purdue. We're not Indiana. On the national level, that's the type of program we're looked at as. And that's the level I think that the Hawkeyes are going to be hiring at. The days of getting a Steve Alford, landing the biggest name in the coaching market are probably gone, unless you can really crack open the bank here.
You're looking at it right now. I do believe the Iowa job is one of the top 25, top 30 jobs in the country. I think you can consistently win at Iowa. You have the money, you have the facilities, you have the fan support. You just have to get it back there. It's a sleeping giant.
And I completely agree with you. I think that when things are running, it can be, a top 15 type of job. You're in the Big Ten. You've got amazing opportunity with that. You've got good facilities. They aren't the best facilities in the country. You've got good facilities. You can pay at that level. That makes it a really, really, really desirable job. I mean, right now. Right now, a great basketball coach is looking around the landscape. He's got a couple of options out there. Where does Iowa rank on that? And even as a Hawkeye fan, I think that it's quite a ways down.
Ross makes a good point. He goes, I'd take Iowa over Indiana. You have a lot more time to be mediocre and keep your job.
Honestly, Ross, that is a selling point to say, look at what our threshold for success is. I mean, hell, you could be considered a success at Iowa by getting fans motivated. If you got people to care again and start showing up at games again and then started winning, man, now we're talking about a great job. Because it used to be in that range. Right now, I'm not sure it is. And so I say all that to say now is the time. Now is the time to say, hey, I'm gonna start looking other places. You guys should start looking other places also. Thanks for the time. This has been great. We got to move on. Because things aren't going to get better with Fran. I don't think so. I don't see anything turning around. I don't see it getting better. I don't see changes happening.
When Woodson announced that he was stepping down, Sports Illustrated, of course, this is what we do. We've done it with Iowa. We've put Darren DeVries on our list, right? Well, target number one is going to be Darren DeVries for Iowa, or at least we think it should be. Sports Illustrated put out a list of 9 coaches that Indiana has on its radar. Dusty May is going to be number one at Michigan because he's a former Bob Knight, manager, right? They're like, you got the IU ties. I was surprised that TJ Otzelberger was on that list. TJ's not taking the Indiana job. No way.
That's a step backwards. I mean, right now, again, if we're talking about right now, that's absolutely a step backwards. I mean, if we're talking about 5 years from now, I think that's a step backwards. Indiana's a historic job.
TJ Otzelberger's right where he belongs. I mean, it makes perfect sense to be at Iowa State. Ben McCollum was also on that list, Ross, which
really?
Well, this is what happens, right? And that is you have success right away. Drake has 22 wins, most wins in college basketball right now. Nobody has more wins than Drake. But I don't know if Indiana fans would be. Now, if Indiana calls Ben McCollum and he's offered the job, you take it. You leave Drake and you take the Indiana job.
I mean, yeah.
Yes. But I don't know if they would like that style of basketball. And keep in mind that your runway is a lot shorter than anywhere else.
Right. So listen, somebody that's in the know, our buddy Andy Woodley is listening to us this morning. And Andy, hope everything's going great, buddy. Andy says Iowa's a top 15 job. Now, that's a guy that would know. I mean,
but but I think that's what we were saying. I was saying is, if you look at it, it's a great job. You were saying the right now, it's not a very good job right now.
So what about how much does NIL factor into this?
I think it's got to factor a lot. I think the amount of your job. Think about this. Darren DeVries could have had the Oklahoma State job last year. He could have had the West Virginia job. By history, tradition, and everything else, you could make the argument that Oklahoma State was a better job.
Absolutely.
West Virginia had a lot more, and I mean a lot more NIL money. And he was able to go get that and recruit right away with it. I think NIL is going to play a huge part whether a job is good or whether it's not good, Ross, because you have to have money to pay these guys. And if you don't have the money, well, then you are SOL. And you better have a couple $1 million a year to distribute between a team, or you're not going to be able to get the players that you want to come in.
Matt asked what makes Iowa a top 15 job even before this year, and I think that's people that would say it is would say exactly what Travis just did. It's NIL. You've got money that other people don't have access to, and you might be able to turn this thing around quicker because of that. A lot of people in the chat saying, hey, Indiana basketball is like Nebraska football. You're right. And they got Matt Rule. You're right. I think that's a great analogy. That, man, they're living in the past. They think that they're great. Yeah, you know what happens when you think you're great? You go out and you get somebody who also thinks they can be great.
After Bear Bryant, Alabama wasn't Alabama. Now, Gene Stallings won a national title, but it took him a while to get back to, where Nick Saban got it. 515-517-2303. You can interact with us on Twitter at Rush Mornings. Taking another break. You're listening to The Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive at therushladio.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
My name's Quinn LaFrenz, and I'm a sales consultant here at Willis Infinity. It's February, which means love is in the air, and we have great deals for you here, including our most popular model, the QX60. We have 2.9% up to 60 months, and this Stealth Wrap one has an additional $5,000 off. And our all-new redesigned 2025 QX80 has $3,000 in conquest on top of additional savings. With that, you still qualify for the 2.9% APR up to 60 months. For more information, visit us in the showroom or visit us online at willisinfinity.com.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
It's the Rush Radio Show at therushladio.com. You can listen all day by visiting therushladio.com. If you like to start at the very beginning, you can just subscribe to the replay of the show at your favorite podcast channel. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Willis Automotive has so much going on. I reposted one of their things from over the weekend on his Facebook page, and it happened to be like the Land Rover or something like that. People are like, yeah, I can afford that. Well, some people can. And, of course, they've got a great pre-owned operation, I believe, in Hawkeye, too. So they've got all sorts of options for you. And we do want to thank Willis Automotive for being an integral part of the Rush Radio Show.
We're gonna have to get Jason on. I would like to do almost like a weekly thing with Jason because the dude is so tuned in on so many things, Trav. He's doing the Coaches versus Cancer. He's, his family, and they don't brag about this at all, but his wife and several other ladies are the ones that started the Wave T-shirts to make sure that thing that you and I were afraid of.
His wife came on the old show.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right. When they started the Wave, right away you and I were like, oh, somebody's going to capitalize on this. Somebody's going to turn this into a money-making venture. And luckily a group of people grabbed onto it and said, we're going to turn it into a nonprofit. And we're going to make sure that nobody takes the cash and runs with it. And that was what they did. So I'd love to have Jason, if I can convince him to come on with us sometime, because pretty humble guy too. And so if I can convince him to come on and let us brag about him, that'll work better.
A quick programming note. We got about 10 minutes to go in the show because I got to bug out at 7:30. One of the luxuries we can do, but we like going till 8. It's just I had something pre-planned. And then later on the show, the show's going on the road for the first time. I'm going to be live in Santa Fe, New Mexico on Friday and Monday. Baby.
We're going nationwide.
We're hoping. I go to Owen. I go, can we make this work? He goes, I think so. Because I tried to bribe Owen to come in and like produce from here from the board, and Owen's got a full-time job, and I said, could you come in? He goes, I don't think I can. I go, can I do this remotely on all the platforms? He goes, yeah, I think we can make it work. I think I can make it work. I go, okay. If not, I know for sure we can do it in one area, and I'll just have to upload it somewhere else. But yeah, we're going to be here till 7:30 today. I don't like to kick people out the door, Ross. I don't, and I'm going to go back to the Super Bowl now. Now, Hubie Brown at age 91 broadcasted his last game over the weekend. Dick Vitale actually went back into the booth. He did the Clemson game. I was watching the Super Bowl. I'm ready for Lee Corso to go bye-bye. Lee Corso's had a great career. It's time to go. I was watching the Super Bowl, and I think it's time for Terry Bradshaw to go.
Yeah.
I know that's a little blasphemous to some people, but man, Terry.
Trav, why do we have such a hard time letting these guys go? I mean, the Lee Corso is the best example of it. It's Dick Clark.
Yes. 100%. Oh, Brian says it was Terry's last show. I didn't know that. Good.
I'm with you. Good because I don't want to. I want to remember old Terry Bradshaw.
I didn't know it was Terry's last show.
I didn't know.
I learned something new every day.
Yeah.
I thought they would have had a bigger send-off for him last night. Because at the end, it was the Rush commercial, and then it was over.
Maybe that was his send-off.
If we could have said goodbye to Terry Bradshaw on that. Yeah, but Lee Corso, and I think Lee's going to be back. It's just like, oh, can we just not do this anymore? Because it gets uncomfortable at times. So
you love these guys. I mean, they become somehow a part of your routine. You're used to seeing Lee Corso. Even if you weren't a game day disciple, man, those things found their way to your universe. Him putting on the goofy hat and doing his silly wave. And they somehow become characters in your life. And then all of a sudden you turn them on and they're not that guy anymore. Man, that's hard. It's really hard.
I mentioned Dick Vitale was back in the booth, he's 85, and that's one of those things where I think he just wanted to prove that he can beat cancer, right? Because that guy's been through a journey. The worst crowd control storm or court storming I've ever seen. Did you see this in the Clemson game? As soon as all these arenas now are fixed with LED lights. Game was over. They shut the lights off as they're storming the court. And then it's like a strobe. You're like, don't do that, folks. Do not shut the lights off. Somebody's going to get seriously injured if you...
I feel like you're going to get more people hurt doing that than
yes
anything else.
You're like, oh, let's do this really cool strobe effect. And then it goes dark and then bright, dark, bright. Like, oh, no. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? You got to just keep the lights on, get a rope so they can shake hands and let the fans just sit there.
What's next?
Storm the court. What's next?
Do you know that your ear, the frequency with which you can hear, continuously drops as you get older? You know that, right? So like you can't, your ear will only hear up to a certain frequency in a high pitch. And as you get older, that frequency goes lower and lower and lower. So you can't even hear some of the high pitched sounds that happen around you in the world. But younger ears can.
I did not know that.
So here's what's coming. They'll start putting like super high decibel or high frequency sounds over the speakers, and it'll only the kids will hear it. They do this sometimes in like stores at malls where they don't want kids to congregate. They will do this because
really?
Kid gets close to it. They hear this high pitched noise. They're like, "Ugh, I don't like that." So I think that's what they'll do because they'll realize but that will be, if they play that over the speaker, it'll be enough for the kids to be like, "Let's get out of here."
My wife says I'm a high-pitched noise, and she just walks out of the room. So when my wife walks out of the room, that's what's happening. My voice is getting on her nerves. I can't listen to you anymore.
I don't have that problem. Luckily. That'd be bad. Could you imagine if you had a co-host and you didn't like the sound of their voice?
Yeah, I can. I can. Yeah, I can. One more before we get out of here, and that is Anthony Davis, as Charles Barkley likes to call him, street clothes. Back in street clothes for several weeks. Plays one game with the Mavs after the Luka trade, and he's got a torn abductor on the left side.
Yeah,
I don't even know what an abductor is.
Street clothes, man. Gonna miss a couple of weeks. That's all right though, because don't forget the Dallas Mavericks have that first round pick in 4 years.
We're going to look back on this and look at it as, for the Mavs, maybe one of the worst trades in sports history. Who knows how it turns out for the Lakers, but I have a feeling it's going to turn out better for the Lakers than it is the Mavs.
I think it will too, but we'll see. And but if Luka goes on and helps LeBron get a title, then it's a slam dunk. I mean, it already feels like it is, but we've been wrong with trades like this before. Let's see how it plays out. Maybe Luka and LeBron are oil and vinegar, and it doesn't work out at all. And
I think the difference is, LeBron's going to be done in a year or two, possibly. I know he says he can play till he's like 50. I don't think he can. I don't know if he will or not. Depends on what Bronny does. If Bronny wants to be a player, and if his dad wants to support him through that.
Yeah.
All right, don't forget you can listen to The Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. You can listen to it all day long. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on X and like our Facebook page. Ross, been a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
See you tomorrow.
All right, it's The Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive on therushradio.com.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini of Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, love is in the air, and what better way than the all-electric Countryman SE. Right now, we are doing a $499 a month, $499 down lease special. One last big thing we have this month is For the two-door hardtops, we are doing up to 60 months, $299% rate. So for more information, stop at our showroom. Come see me. We're happy to get that information going. Or see us on our mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.